Do you constantly strip the screws of your RC car, boat, plane or other RCs? Most likely you are not using the right hex drivers, or you are using worn out hex drivers. So let us have a look at one of the best options available, MIP.
Let's go.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of RC Tools here on Sesco RC. I'm Frank and I want to talk with you on one of the most underestimated parts of our RC hobby, using the right tools. So in this episode we're gonna have a look at one of the best RC tool makers in the hobby and why it is important to use good tools in this hobby. If this is your first time on this channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell button so you do not miss any videos in this series. Any comments will always be answered by me, so do share your questions and thoughts in the comments. These are some of the tools I have been using for many years now and they all work okay. But recently I started to strip more and more screws. You might recognize this with your own RCs. So how is it possible and why do we always blame the screws and not the hex drivers you're using? So for those of you that need the short answer, the screws can be the problem, but most of the time you're just using the wrong tools. One brand that has been making the right tools for over 20 years are being used by hobbyists like you and I, but also by professional RC companies. So if you're looking for one of the best available hex drivers and RC tools in general out there, get yourself a set of MIP tools. Why? Keep watching as we take a look at why these are one of the best available options. The major problem is the tolerance of the tip of the hex driver. Material wears out fast, so the fitment that was already not the best just gets worse over time. Therefore you start stripping more and more screws. Ever noticed that the tip of the hex driver is kind of loose? Same for your other wrenches. What you need is something that has a really tight fit and does not wear out over time. So in front of me you see a whole lot of MIP tools, different hand wrenches. I got hold of these because even if my previous tools kind of did the job, I decided to upgrade to better ones. So I retired all of my other RC tools and I went the MIP way. Now why MIP? MIP basically makes these themselves in-house in the US using American steel. They are using for these tips drill bit blanks, which are some of the most hardened steel. They make them themselves so you get the best quality and a tool that will last you for basically years and years. There are people in and outside of the RC community using these for over 10-20 years, with them still being as new. So MIP gets my applause for that. I have a background in professional tools and fasteners market. I can tell you this is one of the best out there. Now fitment in your hand is one thing that is priceless on any tool, because if it doesn't fit well in your hand, if it isn't comfortable, it's not going to be a nice tool to wrench with. Just compare that to this one. This is much harder to get a grip on. Let's face it, if you're subscribed to my channel or you're just viewing this outside of my channel and you're using tools and you're constantly wrenching, you want something that gets the job done, lasts long, but is also comfortable. My favorite part of the RC hobby is wrenching, making, fixing or maintaining my RCs. So basically these tools are priceless. Of course they cost a little bit more, but when you think of it, replace your tools every year or so, or have something that will last you 10, 20 or more years. Constantly buying cheaper RC tools and replacing your stripped screws, it doesn't take long before you end up paying more than buying these MIP tools and quality right away. And by the way, you do not have to buy them all at once. Start with the most needed ones and keep adding more over time. One thing a lot of tools also do not have is something that indicates which size tip they have. So MIP have two ways to show you. First of all, they have 3 sizes of the amber handles. You wouldn't think of it, but this is also a way to help stripping screws. The smaller hex drivers have smaller handles, so automatically you will wrench with less torque, keeping your screws safe from stripping. Another indication are these MIP wrench wraps. They are color coded, it says which size that driver is, and altogether makes it easy to pick out the right one. One thing that I also like to show you is that the drivers itself have a good length. Often they are very short and it is then difficult to get into tight spaces, like deeper in a chassis. They also have a pretty narrow shaft and they are very strong. The tips I said before is what really makes them stand out. They are without any doubt the best fitting ones I ever seen, which is certainly for hex drivers very important. They are the difference between reusing a screw over and over again with no damage or stripping screws constantly. So these are some of the tools that I've been using. Some rarer and smaller cheap ones. My Tamiya set has been used a lot, and I use some professional PB Swiss tools. These PB Swiss torque drivers are most of the times my last attempt when a screw starts to strip. I used it for that, and I use these torque drivers. But that's basically because the other hex drivers are started to worn out, and after over 5-6 years of using these are professional tools, even on these the tips are starting to wear out. So ever since I started using the MIP tools, I haven't stripped one single screw anymore. And for me that says quality. And again, also look at the length difference and imagine situations where you wished you had a longer driver. Quality wise, the PB Swiss ones will match the MIP ones the closest, but even there I had to replace some of the PB Swiss ones after around 5 years of using them, because even there the hardened steel tips started to wear off. I haven't had that problem with these MIPs, and even more. If you ask anyone in the RC community what the best and longest lasting RC tools are, a lot of times they will say get some MIP. Also, if you ask in the RC community, I keep stripping my screws, what do I have to do? Then you probably gonna get the answer, get some MIP tools. MIP has been making these tools for over 20 years and they are well known for all of their quality RC parts and tools. A lot of the professional RC racers and comp drivers use them. In fact, when you go back in history and look at old photos, videos of RC races and comps, and photos of people wrenching in the pits, you will very often see a set of MIP on their pit table or workbench. I'm really happy with how these tools are working for me, and I will make more in-depth videos on all of these different MIP tools. So make sure to subscribe and hit that bell button to not miss out on those videos where we'll have a look at specific MIP tools. For now, I hope this video contributes to you and that it gave you a little insight in how you can have an even better wrenching experience with the right RC tools, like these MIP tools. So our question of the day: what other RC tool reviews do you like to see me do? Let me know down in the comments, and for now I say to you, keep loving RC and we'll talk soon. Thanks for watching. You can find additional information in the video description, and if you have any comments or questions, leave them behind under this video. Click the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell button to receive a notice for my new videos. And on the right you can click and watch one of my other videos. And on that, I'll see you on the next one.